Mr. Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, today we stand in a moment that will be etched into our national memory, a moment that reaffirms who we are as a country and what we stand for and who stands with us. It is my deep honor and privilege to embrace, accept, welcome, and thank to the People's House, my good friend, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, the Right Honourable Christopher Luxon, and your esteemed delegation. Papua New Guinea, thank you for honouring our nation and your presence for affirming the enduring relationship and friendship between our two people. This is only the second time in our nation's history that a world leader has addressed our parliament. A powerful symbol of the strategic importance New Zealand has with our country and Australia continues to have with our country. For New Zealand, it is a powerful symbol of strategic importance, mutual respect, and the good and long-standing relationship and bond between our two governments and our two countries, but more importantly, our two people. Mr. Speaker, New Zealand is not just a Pacific neighbor across the Pacific. You are a true partner, a friend of integrity who stood with us when our nation was born in 1975. You have walked with us every step of the way, and the 5 decades of independence we've had as a country, you have been a strong, reliable partner. Surely, as your Prime Minister then, Prime Minister Rawlings, promised, none of his promise was broken. Every promise was upheld. You helped build our civil services. You helped educate our children. You delivered and contribute to our rural villages, whether in health or any other development aspirations. You did extend a big hand of peace during one of our darkest hours, or some of our darkest hours, the Bougainville crisis. That history of principal partnership is the foundation upon which we are ready to build our next chapter. Prime Minister Luxon, your visit comes at a pivotal point, not just in our nation's history, but in our two nations' bilateral relationship and our history. A moment where we both take reflection, but also make resolutions as to how we progress from here on. 50 years into our nation's independence, and amidst our fragilities, we remain a robust democracy. We remain a robust free market economy. We remain a people together in our diversity. We no longer a fledgling nation finding her feet. We are a people rising, determined to transform our economy, unify our diverse tribes, and empower our young citizens through agriculture, education, infrastructure, and more importantly, in the digital world, the involvement in digital innovation. We have declared that the next 50 years will be defined not by what we receive, but what we build with our hands, our hearts, and our God-given potentials. And in this mission, we are encouraged that we are not walking alone. Mr. Speaker, earlier this year, I had the privilege of undertaking a state visit to Aotearoa, New Zealand. It was more than a diplomatic formality. It was a renewal of vows between our two nations who believe in peace, people, and purpose. Together, we launched the Papua New Guinea New Zealand Statement of Partnership 2025 to 2029, a bold framework grounded in strong political and regional collaboration, deeper economic engagement and responsible investment, greater opportunities for education and labor mobility, joint commitment to peace and security, especially in our Pacific, including our Bougainville, and shared stewardship of climate action and environmental resilience. In New Zealand, I had the pleasure of witnessing the wisdom of Maori leadership, the innovation of your enterprises, and the warm embrace of your people. We invited your business to invest in Papua New Guinea transformation, especially in agriculture, energy, infrastructure, and institutional reform. We laid the foundation to grow our labor mobility partnerships, aiming to lift our current 2,000 workers under the recognized seasonal employer scheme to more than 10,000, with pathways for skilled and permanent employment. Mr. Speaker, I want to inform you I was pleasantly blessed in the side of the Parliament to see a young Papuan family walking to me. He was a former University of Technology student in employment in New Zealand, and there's a growing diaspora of Papua New Guineans not working as imported seasonal workforce, but in skilled areas, finding their own feet. Some, as Prime Minister Lukson said, businessmen doing business in New Zealand, all work in different spaces of New Zealand. New Zealand has become a good hub of Papua New Guinea diaspora. And I want to thank you, Prime Minister Lukson, for the warm hospitality New Zealand has always rendered to Papua New Guineans. Our goal is not just to offer jobs, but future. For the 6 million young Papua New Guineans we right now have under the age of 25, we want them to find a place in PNG and the world around us. And we thank New Zealand for offering that opportunity for some of our children to find home and work and meaningful pursuit in New Zealand. I want to thank and register at this juncture New Zealand government's opening of visa, ease of visa requirements for Papua New Guineans to move into New Zealand. We celebrated also when I was there. I was privileged to go to Wellington Phoenix Football Academy. We watched this sporting event there, and I saw how sport can also transform communities, anchor communities, embrace communities. We also acknowledge that you have been a tremendous help and support in the health and education sector in our country, from the Red Hollows Foundation, building an eye center in Port Moresby, right now to the tireless work of your help to World Vision and other NGOs like the ADRA in our most remote provinces. And we rejoice in the resilience of, again, our diaspora who are working, who are studying. And I have here in this Parliament, Mr. Prime Minister, there's some former New Zealand students who are also members of Parliament. One of them, notably someone close to me, Governor of Southern Highlands, the Honourable William Powie. Mr. Speaker, I want to place on record in this Parliament and register our greatest support for one of the biggest help to us and hand to us in as far as the Bougainville is concerned. New Zealand has been front, back, and centerpiece in our talk and walk for peace on Bougainville. We reiterate our unwavering commitment to peaceful dialogue, mutual respect, and constitutional path forward as we seek to register and solve our Bougainville issue. I thank the government of New Zealand past and government today, not only for your support of past during the Bougainville crisis, but for your continued support and leadership at present, especially in our last meeting at Bantam, the spiritual birthplace of peace for Bougainville. I want to appreciate the joint moderation consultation that was concluded at Bantam and the forging of the Melanesian Agreement under the guide and words of one of New Zealand's esteemed son, esteemed son, the Honourable Sir Jerry Matapora. He was instrumental, just like many New Zealanders before him. And I want to say in this Parliament, we appreciate the work Sir Jerry has done in this space. We look forward to continued work for peace in Bougainville. And I want to say the pronounced blessing of Matthew 5, verse 9 to New Zealanders who have had a hand in our peace process. Matthew 5, verse 9 says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." New Zealand just do not practice peace, but it practices it. And we are better off because of New Zealand's role in peace, in not just Papua New Guinea, but peace in a region and peace as you work for peace in the global stage that we both share. Mr. Speaker, Our region, the Blue Pacific, is no longer a quiet backwater areas in as far as world affairs is concerned. We're now at the center of global attention, competition, and consequences. In this changing world, our unity as Pacific nation must not waver. In this regard, New Zealand is more than an ally, you're a campus, bringing trust, humility, and moral clarity. You lead not through might, but through right, the right of our existence in our Pacific. And that is the leadership Pacific respects. Today, I reaffirm Papua New Guinea's commitment to stand with New Zealand, to protect our oceans, uphold democratic values, strengthen climate resilience, encourage free and fair trade within and abroad, and ensure that no child of the Pacific is left behind, whether scorched by climate change disasters or poverty, etc. Papua New Guinea stands with New Zealand to protect, shield, and work for our Blue Pacific continent, something that I've been part of the construct since 2019 in our PIF engagements. In our bilateral discussions today, Mr. Prime Minister, we will advance key priorities. This includes expanding trade and investment ties between our two nations for inclusive growth. In a world of many trade barriers, I think fair trade is important between both nations. You have things that you produce that I don't produce. I have things that Papua New Guinea produce that you don't have. In an element, an envelope of fair trade, we can both find security, the exchanges between our two nations. We can broaden labor mobility for prosperity and dignity. If you need more laborers, whether casual and basic labor to skilled Papua New Guineans, we can uplift the standard of education training to a level where you accept our trained Papua New Guineans to work in your country if you need them. I have labor in abundance in Papua New Guinea. We can deepen cooperation in climate action and renewable energy. We can invest in youth skills and vocational training, as I alluded to earlier. Or, of course, enhancing security and disaster resilience for the benefit of our two nations and our Pacific. Mr. Speaker, let it be said, and the partnership between Papua New Guinea and New Zealand is not built on aid, but it is rather built on mutual respect. Two nations coexisting side by side, as our ancestors have been. Our ancestors have been in this part of the world for many, many generations. Mr. Speaker, I pointed to Prime Minister Lakson last night. The Lapita poetry has found its roots in Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea's Lapita is similar poetry, similar to those found in Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, New Caledonia, Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, Cook Island, Niue, and New Zealand. They're as old as 3,500 years. This is our shared history together in this part of the world. We will be living here forever until Jesus comes. Our children will be living here. It is our shared responsibility to carve out a better future for our two children and our children of the Pacific. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that this is not just a transactional relationship. It must be fueled by transformation for our two nations and our region that we live in. It is not just a line item on a budget, but this must be etched in our hearts. The heart of two governments, the heart of two countries, more importantly, the heart of our two people. In Tok Pisin, we say, you know man nothing, means you're not just an ordinary man. You're man, blow family, blow mipla. You're part of our Pacific family. Prime Minister Lakson, New Zealand are our family. And on behalf of this Parliament, on both sides, and the opposition leader will also have the honor of addressing this Parliament. But on behalf of this Parliament and on behalf of my government, and of course all the people of our country, I want to extend a warmest thank you to you and your family, to your government, to your Parliament, and also to your people. Please convey our regards from the highest peak in our country to all the islands, over 600 islands of this country. We wish New Zealand continued success, and we want to say we are your brothers and sisters here, We will remain a buffer from the east to the west, from the north to the south in our part of the world. We remain a buffer as we have been in the past, and we will be into the future. For every work in partnership with Papua New Guinea is a construct for security, safety, and ambience of good life, not just for PNG, but for all of us. As the good book reminds us, the Bible says in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9, two are better than one, because they have a good return for the labor. May God bless the people of Nijuland and Nijuland. May God bless Papua New Guinea. May God bless our shared Blue Pacific. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.